The first thing I saw wasn't the cool shape of my special house or the sparkle of the neighborhood pool far away. No, as I flew my 14-ton super fancy helicopter over the last hill, my eyes got stuck on an ugly bright pink SUV parked right in the middle of my helicopter landing pad, not the little doormat by my front door, but the huge cement area with a big white H painted on it. The SUV, a 2019 Toyota RAV4 in shiny pink, was lined up so perfectly you'd think they used special measuring tools. A familiar headache started in my head, a feeling I'd gotten used to since moving to my new life in this neighborhood, Elias. I said. My voice sounding calm, but I wasn't identify the car scanning, came the smooth robot reply in my headset. Elias, my computer helper had the chill attitude of an old radio guy car found 2019, Toyota RAV4, shiny pink, owned by Margaret Hinsley. 142 Willow Creek Lane. I let out a big breath. Of course it was. Margaret Hinsley, the bossy queen of neighborhood. Rules, who treated the Willow Creek HOA rules like they were from God, any people there. Elias, no James, the car is empty, but I can tell one person with a fast heart rate and acting really smug in the nearby garden. I zoomed in with the nose camera. There she was, pretending to care about a flower bush holding plant cutters like a hyper raccoon. She looked up, saw my spinning helicopter hovering like a robot bird, and a nasty smile flashed across her face before she went back to attacking her. Plants, she knew I was running low on gas from a Nevada test trip. She knew going to the city airport meant money, paperwork, and a 45-minute taxi ride. This was her winning move. My fight with Margaret and her HOA crazies didn't start with a pink SUV. Blocking it started like neighborhood fights often do with a mailbox. I'd moved to Willow Creek 6 months ago, an airplane engineer who'd made money on a GPS invention to build my dream, a glass and metal castle with a huge workshop and a private helicopter pad. It was all city-approved government. Okay, and totally legal. I wanted to fly test models from my workshop to test places without using public roads. Smart. A week after moving in, a cream-colored letter arrived decorated with the Willow Creek HOA's fancy leaf picture inside was a rule-breaking notice. My mailbox, a simple metal triangle I made, didn't match the neighborhood's old-timey look. It had to be barn brown or fake stone. I wrote back with a 12-page report on my mailboxes, better airflow, rust protection, and money saving, complete with computer tests. I mailed it back in their prepaid envelope. No answer came, and my mailbox stayed. I won. I thought I was wrong. Days later, Margaret trapped me near my driveway. You must be James, she said sweetly, her voice sugary but mean. Her reddish hair stayed perfect like a hard helmet. I'm Margaret Hinsley, boss of the Looks Police Board, she said. Looks Police, like I had special protection. Your rocks, she kept going, nose scrunching. They're rude. I looked at my driveway's dark gray stones. They're rocks. I said, slate to be exact, earth-colored for your rule book. Midnight slate and earth-colored, James. She pushed, eyes sparkling. It's the color of half the world's ground, a shot back, unless your earth is all beige, in which case I have questions. Her smile got tight like a razor-thin line. Well, talk again, she said, turning away, her high heels clicking with angry power. The last fight before the helicopter pad showdown was the dog incident in my soundproof workshop. I tested a shaking sensor that made a short, high sound not hearable to most people, and within city noise rules. 2 days later, another HOA letter came, signed by Margaret, now head of the quiet police. My loud machine sounds had supposedly scared her dog, Lord Pearl, who now needed calming treats and special grooming. The letter said I must stop all non-housework. I sent back the city's noise rules, a sound measurement from my property edge, and a pet store gift card with a note for Lord Perival's stress that was a week ago. Now her SUV sat on my helicopter pad like a glowing challenge back in the pilot seat. I thought about my choices. Elias, call the Willow Creek Gate. A distracted voice answered over the sound of a true crime show. Willow Creek Gate. This is Tyler. It's James, lot 7. There's an SUV on my helicopter pad. I need it moved. Now a pause. Then, yeah, Margaret stopped by, said you'd deal with it. Deal with it, I yelled. This is a real landing area. It's dangerous. Send someone, dude. I can't leave the gate. Margaret pays my salary. I'm staying out of it. The phone hung up. I tried my housekeeper, no answer. Margaret had planned this perfectly. Knowing my cleaner was gone, I called her number saved as the monster straight to a happy voicemail. Fine. I hovered at 500 FT and turned on the warning horn, a polite beep made for scaring birds. Margaret didn't move, just kept cutting up her plants. My gas gauge blinked 20 minutes before I'd have to leave, giving her the win. Leaving meant a $600 landing cost, a pile of government forms, and a long, embarrassing ride home while she celebrated over tea. My patience wasn't in minutes, was in the pounding of that head vein. Every smart move was blocked. She left me one path, daring me to take it. Engineers don't. Except no-win situations, we change the math, okay, Margaret? I whispered, hands moving over the controls. You think your HOA crown protects you from science. Science doesn't read rule books. I flipped a switch, engines roared, Elias rotors to 75%, we're landing on time rotors at 75%. Elias said, music, James. A mean smile came through Wagner Ride of the Warrior ladies as the horns played. I started going down the landing, happened like a storm in 4 parts at 200 feet. The rotor wind messed up Margaret's perfect hair into a blonde mess. Leaves from her prize-winning tree flew across her yard. She stared up, holding her cutters like a magic charm. At 100 F, the breeze became a storm. Her sunset orange mulch exploded into a pink cloud covering her cream house like powdered sugar, a ceramic garden gnome. Mr. Sprinkles got thrown over her fence, disappearing into a bush. The SUV's alarm beeped nervously as the car rocked. Margaret stumbled toward her porch, her smugness breaking at 50 FT. The full power of twin 38 FT rotors made a fake hurricane. The sound was alive, shaking bones. Margaret held onto her porch rail, her screams covered by the SUV's alarm, crying in defeat. Its plastic wheel covers popped off, flying across the yard, one stuck in her fence with a thunk. Her prize flowers were stripped naked, their branches shaking like skeleton fingers. Finally, I eased the controls with Dr. Precision, landing inches from her SUV. The final air blast pushed the car sideways with a rubbery screech, and its driver's side window broke into a crystal web. Quiet came as I turned off the rotors, slowed to a stop. The SUV's alarm cried, joined by Margaret's gasping sobs. I drank my water, enjoying the quiet for a full 30 seconds before a happy grin spread across my face. I got out, tablet in hand, as Margaret ran at me. Mulch covered and crazy, you maniac, she screamed. You wrecked my car, you could have killed me. I stopped at my property line. Margaret, I said calmly, your car's fine, just a few scratches from parking in a no parking area. I stayed 50 feet from you, no danger, and I held up my tablet. Your SUV was illegally blocking a registered landing area that's not a parking spot. The giant H is a clue, sirens screamed, and 2 police cars pulled up. Officer Reynolds, a tough old-timer, and Officer Carter, a new guy with excited eyes, stepped out. Carter stared at my helicopter. Is that a Blackhawk Custom V-22D I fixed? Margaret let out a tearful rant. He flew his death machine at me. He blew up my car. Arrest him. Reynolds let her vent, then turned to me. Your side, sir. I explained it. The registered helicopter pad, my failed. Tries to contact security. And Margaret the warning horn, and my low gas forcing the landing. I've got sound call records and super clear video from 3 cameras. I said, sending the footage to Carter, who smiled like a kid at a toy store. Reynolds looked around the scene, the cracked window, the wheel cover in the fence, the mulch-covered house, ma'am. He said to Margaret, you parked on a helicopter pad that's illegal, and a government-issue FAA doesn't mess around. I'm giving you a ticket for parking in a restricted area, the damage that's on you. He gave her a ticket. She stared at it, defeated. Reynolds whispered to me, nice landing, keep the peace. Carter whispered, that rotor wind is crazy, man. Margaret's stare promised revenge, but I wasn't done. She'd fight back using the HOA like a weapon. I needed a castle. I called Vince, a builder who made bunkers for rich people, on my patio. I explained Operation Iron Haven, an underground hangar with a hydraulic lift, a reinforced helicopter pad with blinding LED lights, an 8F metal fence, and a thick row of trees for privacy. Vince's smile showed a metal tooth. We'll fix your pest problem. Mr. J building started, and Margaret fought back with lots of HOA letters, noise violations, unapproved fencing, bad trees, my lawyer a shark, illegal. Fighter knocked each down with permits and weird rule books. Margaret's door-to-door campaign to make me look bad. Failed neighbors tired of her bossy rule shared stories of her crazy fines. 4 wrong doormats, tickets for wrong direction garden. Hoses, they saw my project as fighting back, not causing trouble. The final fight came at the HOA meeting in the community center's boring hall. Margaret, as president, suggested banning my airfield. Her PowerPoint, A Comic Sans Disaster, painted me as dangerous. I fought back with a cool presentation, Willow Creek, a bully's story. A chart showed my 27 rule breaks against the neighborhood's 1. 2 average my helicopter pad video set to Wagner. Made people gasp and laugh. I showed Margaret's own rule breaks. Her fence was too tall. Her mulch not approved. My lawyer moved to kick Margaret out, citing Rulebook 61. The room exploded. Neighbors shared years of complaints, and the vote was a blowout. Margaret ran away dethroned a month later. My castle was done, hangar-hidden fence, shining trees growing. I drank a beer on my patio with neighbor Tom, who'd brought a six-pack. You shook things up, he said, looking at the helicopter pad's sleeping lights. When's my ride in that beast? I smiled at the peaceful sky Saturday work for.